Hey guys, it is me, the Emerald Sword, and welcome back to another video, where today I will be reviewing the third book of the Bachman Books Omnibus. This one is called Roadwork, but if you can't either afford or don't want the Omnibus, fear not, because there is a solo edition of Roadwork right here. And similar to Rage and The Running Man, the other two Bachman books I've read, Roadwork is heavily about something morality based, like losing sanity, or like right versus wrong, something like that, morality based. And it's about this guy named Barton George Dawes, who finds out a highway extension is going right through his house, which he's been living in for 20 years, and his work, also called Blue Ribbon Laundry, the same laundry from Carrie, that he's been working at for 20 years. So, he doesn't like this, of course, because why would you? And he decides he's going to do something about it. So he goes to the gun store, buys a couple guns, and those are going to come back in later. And so the book is pretty short. The audiobook I used to follow along with it was about 9 hours and 37 minutes. So it's pretty short by Stephen King standards. And over the course of this 9.5-hour book, it goes over 3 months, November through December to January. And it's basically Bart losing his mind, alienating his friends, and eventually his wife, because his insanity is constantly growing. And now, of course, if you're a fan of Stephen King, you know that he's no stranger to writing characters that slowly lose their sanity. If you remember his first book, Carrie loses her sanity over the course of the book and then lashes out. Or The Shining, Jack Torrance slowly loses his sanity and lashes out towards the end. Roadwork is no different. It's just about a guy with, I guess, some anger problems or some sort of mental problem. The book never says anything, but once you know his life, you'll know why. And yeah, he just doesn't want to move or get a new job. So he quits his job. I know that's very ironic, but he quits his job because he failed to do something. And then his wife leaves him because he failed to find a new house. And so, yeah, the book is just him pushing people away in his life. And they want to help him. They tell him, you need help. And he tries to get help, but it doesn't go so well for him. So, in the final stages of the book, the big day comes, and they're about to tear down the house to make way for the expansion, sorry. But Bart Dawes, remember those guns, he starts a shootout with the police, and the news reporters are filming it and all that. And then the book ends when he grabs those explosives, pulls the pin, and then sends himself and his house sky high. And that ending is very similar to The Running Man. If you remember The Running Man, there's a giant shootout in a plane, and then Ben Richards, who's the main character, takes the plane into the game show network building, flies it right in, and then it explodes, and he dies and stuff. So very similar off the bat. And similar to Roadwork, Ben Richards also slowly loses his mind that leads to a fiery death. And Roadwork is very similar to the other Bachman books, being Rage and The Running Man, where it's all about morality and stuff. I already said this. Like in Rage, Charlie Decker has some sort of mental problem. The book is about like rage and anger and like pent-up aggression and mental health and stuff. It's a really good book. I'd recommend seeing that video if you haven't. And then The Running Man is, of course, about violence and government conspiracy and television and all that. Really good stuff. I think Roadwork, is a little better than The Running Man, but isn't quite as good as Rage. So I'd highly recommend it. I'm hearing that Roadwork is not a very great book. A lot of people don't like it. For all I know, a lot of people probably haven't heard of it. But I'm telling you right now, this book is pretty great. Give it a try if you haven't. And anyway, so yeah, now what is Roadwork truly about? It's not about the road. Roadwork is about pain and grief. So Bart apparently 3 years earlier, he lost his son Charlie to a brain tumor. And that's still hanging him up about it because, I mean, how would he not? He lost a child. And so he has two voices in his head. His middle name, George, and Charlie's middle name, Fred. Harry Potter reference, yeah, I get it. But yeah, so even his mental voice, Fred, which I guess is the voice of reason in his head, even starts to not talk to him over the course of the book, because even Fred realizes that George is going a little crazy. That's pretty funny. But yeah, so it's really about pain and grief, because Stephen King said that when his mother passed away, he kind of wrote Roadwork as a sign of like trying to grieve about what happened and like his kind of inner thoughts about losing a relative. And he only really published it because he wanted people to kind of understand what he was going through, and that he didn't like Roadwork very much. But he's since come up saying again that Roadwork is actually his favorite of the early Bachman novels. So yeah, there you have it. Anyway, yeah, Roadwork is a really good book. It's currently my second favorite Bachman book of 3. And I look forward to reading the next 4 in the very near future. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like this video if you did, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I've been Ben from the Emerald Sword, and I will see you guys next time.